that's Cobb's corner, isn't it, down the first turn. So look at that, Raikkonen, and what's interesting is Ralf Schumacher's not that far behind Raikkonen. Truly's backing the pair of them into his teammate effectively.
Yeah, 1 or 2 little ragged sort of slides there for Raikkonen. He seems to get very close to Michael Schumacher through Vale and Club, and on the acceleration out of Club, Schumacher's able to pull away from him. Lap 16 of the British Grand Prix. You ride on board with Kimi Raikkonen. Michael Schumacher is in front of us as we plunge into Kopp's corner at 160 miles an hour in 5th gear, down towards Maggots, 180 miles an hour before a little lift, down a gear, through the Beckett's complex, 130 miles an hour, cars swinging left, right, left, and then out onto the hangar straight. Raikkonen struggling a little bit, you see, in the dirty air of the car in front, which is Michael Schumacher. Jarno Trulli is in front of him. This is the battle for 6th place. It's also a battle which is potentially costing Raikkonen the victory here at Silverstone. He so desperately needs to get himself back on terms in the World Championship with Fernando Alonso. He is now 26 seconds behind race leader Juan Montoya in the McLaren. Alonso is 2nd, Button is 3rd, Barrichello 4th, Fisichella 5th, and Trulli in 6th. At the head of this little queue, and in a way, if you're McLaren, you've got to make a bit of a decision here. There's a long way to go in the race, but Montoya taking points off Alonso at the front is a good thing. You certainly want Raikkonen to come through as much as you can. We think he's carrying a little bit more fuel than the others, but tactically it's going to be fascinating for McLaren. And Louise Goodman has some news for us.
Yeah, I've been down at the Red Bull garage. We saw Christian Kin coming to make an early stop. I wasn't expecting him that early, neither were the team under normal circumstances, but we did see him have a bit of an off-track excursion. So the team decided to react to that, bring him in early, change his strategy. Whilst he was in, they made an adjustment to the front wing because he wasn't terribly happy with the balance of the car, but he still seems to be struggling a bit, still running wide on a couple of corners, so they obviously haven't managed to correct that for him.
Yes, and thank you for that, Louise. The BAR that you saw being passed, obviously not Button, that's Sartor, who started a lap behind with the Gremlins going to the grid, just moving out of the way for the leaders. We've got a big straight fight now between Montoya and Alonso, it seems, for victory in this Grand Prix. Jensen just keeping them on as he's 5.8 seconds adrift of Alonso and still in play. But Barrichello's going well in the Ferrari in 4th place too. Fisichella, 2nd, Renault's 5th. Truly backing them up. He's a 2nd a lap off the pace, backing up Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen into his teammate Ralf Schumacher in the 2nd Toyota, and Ferrari getting ready for one of their cars.
Christian Albers has got some flapping bodywork. You can just see it on the right-hand side of the side pod as he comes in for his pit stop. It's on the other side of the car. Looks like Ferrari are getting ready indeed. Here we go for Rubens Barrichello. He dives into the pits. This is lap 18 of 60, so Barrichello was running relatively light in qualifying yesterday. That means Trulli, Michael Schumacher, Raikkonen all move forward. It's all good news for Raikkonen and Schumacher, but they really want Trulli to be pitting in the not too distant future as Barrichello goes out again.
I've got a feeling that Raikkonen will be able to get past the Toyota if he could only clear Michael. Normally, the two Ferraris would come in at a similar time, so maybe Michael Schumacher could be in shortly. I did hear they might well be 3-stopping this afternoon, which demonstrates even more difficulty with their qualifying pace. But as Ruben said to me on the line, I think our tyres are going to come good towards the end of the Grand Prix. I expect us to be there. So they've short-fueled him. I wonder if they're looking to get him ahead of Jensen on the track position. But Jensen should be okay there. He's 2-stopping.
Well, it looked like Barrichello rejoined behind Ralf Schumacher, who was 9th. Jacques Villeneuve is in there as well, in that area in 10th place. So Barrichello is somewhere around the top 10. The computer will tell us in a few moments' time. There you can see the top 8 then at the moment. And it's interesting on pace terms because Montoya set 2 fastest laps, trying to open up a bit of a gap. Now Alonso is responding as well. He's just set the fastest first sector of the race so far, and indeed the fastest lap, a 1:21.8 for Fernando Alonso, halves the margin to Juan Montoya. He's saying to Montoya, no son, you're not getting away from me. I want this win every bit as badly as you do here this afternoon. A titanic scrap at the front for the victory of the British Grand Prix. Jenson Button's doing a super job in 3rd place. Lost a little ground early on, but his lap times are comparable with Montoya's now in the low 1:22s. Also, Fisichella is lapping at that sort of pace too in 4th place. And then Trulli, as we said, is, well, he's a second a lap slower, and that's bad news for Schumacher and Raikkonen.
I'm expecting the front runners in, I don't know, somewhere around lap 22, 24, something like that is our best guesstimate. Montoya doing a great job out there this afternoon, keeping Alonso at bay. And here's the other battle then. The Toyota truly beginning to pull a gap out to Michael Schumacher, and Raikkonen just can't get closer than that half second.
Well, what's interesting to me is that Alonso was really downplaying his chances going into this Grand Prix. At the test at Silverstone a few weeks ago, the McLaren was so much faster than the Renault, and Alonso's making a great deal of that, saying, listen, if I get a podium out of this weekend, I'll be happy. I think he'll be very happy indeed after 18 laps to be only 0.7 of a second behind Juan Montoya. And if he's got a little bit more fuel in the car, which is possible, we'll find out in the next few laps, then he's game on to have a real crack at winning this one, especially as Raikkonen seems to be, well, he's going to really have his work cut out in the second half of the Grand Prix after the bad start he's had.
Well, I'm sure they'll be telling him also he's 29 seconds ahead of arch rival for the championship, Kimi Raikkonen. Raikkonen has very much been sidelined now, I think, for victory this afternoon. I'm still looking forward to some fireworks when he gets some clear air to haul himself up into the better points-paying positions. And of course, still a long way to go in terms of reliability, driver error, tripping over other people. But he'll be getting well fed up with the back view of that Ferrari.
Well, another thing that's going to help Alonso is that Fisichella is in 4th place as Heidfeld pits from 13th. Villeneuve also coming out into the pits, and so is David Coulthard as well. So Villeneuve was 11th, Heidfeld 13th, and Coulthard 14th, the first round of scheduled stops. These are the men that carried a little bit less fuel in qualifying yesterday than the others. Ted Kravitz, what can you tell us?
Oh, drama at Sauber. Jacques Villeneuve has knocked over his fuel man. He tried to go too early. We think there might have been a little twitch with the guy with the lollipop, but Villeneuve tried to go too early. He knocked down his fuel mechanic. He went down, hit the ground, but he's up again. But, oh, God, drama down here. The doctor's just checking him out, seeing if the fuel guy's all right, but he is.
There we go with the replay of that, and he'd obviously tried a little bit earlier to get away, had Jacques Villeneuve. He's lost position now to Heidfeld, Coulthard, Button pits from 3rd place. There is Jenson Button, but Villeneuve losing 3 or 4 places there.
Now the crucial thing for Button is that Rubens Barrichello came in and was short fuel by Ferrari, so is he going to be able to leapfrog Jenson Button as I said around the pit stop? Coming down the pit lane, you can see now the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen as well. Schumacher is trying very, very hard. There is Barrichello, so it didn't work. Ferrari didn't have enough time. Even the short fuel system didn't quite work, so Barrichello stays behind Jenson Button.
Truly pits then. Raikkonen needed Michael Schumacher to pit at the same time. Mark Webber in 2 for Williams, so they've just crept into the 20-lap sector of the race. But yeah, Jenson for sure stayed ahead of Rubens Barrichello, and quite a long way ahead, and it was a good stop for him. He was also got back out in front of Ralf Schumacher, so he's a pit stop ahead of him, and the people ahead of him would be on light fuel and about to pit anyway, so that worked nicely for Jenson Button.
Now the guy I was mentioning before that Alonso's going to be relying on here is Fisichella, because he is between himself and Kimi Raikkonen. Fisichella is running very strongly here this afternoon. We haven't seen him, but he's been 4th on the racetrack. He's now obviously he's in front of Button, so he's now up to 3rd, yet to make his first stop of the afternoon. Fisichella lapping quicker than the 2 in front of him. He's 12 seconds behind the race leaders, so potentially he too, considering that he's driving a Renault, is a factor here this afternoon, as Coulthard in 14th tries to resist Villeneuve 15th. And that's the race leaders coming up to lap them. Juan Montoya coming up to lap Villeneuve and Coulthard after just 21 laps. Ralf Schumacher pits from 8th, final points paying position. Here he comes, and you can see Villeneuve trying once again to get past Coulthard. These two have had a few scraps over the years, great friends they are. They travel the circuits of Europe together, and they'll park their motorhomes next door to each other, with Jenson Button as well, part of a little corral in the campsite. Very exclusive campsite it is as well. McLaren ready for one of their 2 drivers. This is lap 22. They've gone a little further than many people in the paddock imagine, and into the pits goes the race leader, Juan Montoya. In he comes then.
And that's important, though, because just ahead of Alonso, and he'll be about 2 seconds a lap faster than Coulthard and Villeneuve, who are squabbling just in front of him. He may lose time on this next lap or two, or the in-lap, indeed, if he's stopping this time around. That's cost him dearly. Fisichella has blitzed the fastest lap of the race. Montoya gets away. Almost sounded like he was trying to stall, didn't it? But he looks like he's going to go out into beautiful, clear air, and Alonso surely is going to lose time behind Villeneuve and Coulthard.
Well, here's Alonso losing some more time. David Coulthard taking a little while to get past. So Montoya rejoined comfortably in front of Michael Schumacher and Kimi Raikkonen. Jarno Trulli pitted, we saw. He dropped down to 10th place, so he's out of the way as Villeneuve has another go at David Coulthard. Side by side they are, and Villeneuve very uncompromising. Coulthard has to run wide, and Villeneuve makes the pass stick. Great move.
Yeah, good effort there from Jacques up the inside, had a better run out. Coulthard compromised by allowing the leader through, which he's obliged to do with the blue flags, and Jacques punished him for that by getting a cleaner run out of Club Corner and a better top speed up to the Abbey chicane. Fisichella still flying, he's going well at this stage. Here's a replay then up to Abbey, about 180 miles an hour. DC tries to squeeze him, Jacques having none of it. I thought he might lock his wheels and go straight on there, but no problem. Alonso in.
Race leader into the pits, Fernando Alonso. He's gone a lap longer than Montoya. He was less than a second behind him when they made the stops. Montoya's stop was neat and tidy, 8.8 seconds. This one is slightly slower, and Montoya, where is he? There's Alonso coming out of the pit lane. Here comes Montoya across the start-finish line on the right of your screens. Alonso on the left. Who's going to get into Maggots first? Looks like it'll be Montoya as Alonso gets back up to speed. They're side by side. It's a tremendous scrap as it was on the opening lap. And Alonso not quite enough. Just a fraction of a second less on the pit stop, and he'd be in the lead. As it is, Montoya scythes in front of him, as he did on the opening lap, to regain the lead of the British Grand Prix. Cracking stuff.
They were obviously watching the red arrows earlier on, weren't they, with all the formation stuff. That was amazing driving from both of them. And, well, just having to pass to Coulthard and I think Villeneuve cost him about a second on the way in, cost him the chance of the Grand Prix. So Fisichella now leads this Grand Prix. Montoya had the inertia, had the momentum, although it looked as if Alonso had got a head start, didn't it, coming out of the pit lane. Montoya comes out of that corner with 170, 180 miles an hour, and he just managed to carry it through. But Alonso will get another chance.
So, on the racetrack, the leader at the moment, on lap 24, is Giancarlo Fisichella, but he has yet to make a stop. So the net leader of the Grand Prix, effectively, people who have made their stops, is Juan Montoya with Fernando Alonso behind him. And Fisichella was about 10 seconds behind that pair before they made their pit stop. So we expect him to resume, depending on what kind of pace he's had and they've had relative, he should be about 8 or 9 seconds behind him when he makes his stop. Into the pits comes the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher. He went 25 laps into this Grand Prix on the fuel with which he qualified. A couple of little mistakes yesterday in qualifying harmed his grid slot. His body language this weekend hasn't been great, Michael Schumacher. He hasn't been very comfortable in his skin, has he, this weekend? He's been signing autographs and good grace generally with the public, I have to say, but you can tell he just doesn't like the situation that he's in. Kimi Raikkonen, I have to tell you, is currently up into 4th place, 21 seconds behind race leader Fisichella, but 3 seconds behind Montoya, and yet Raikkonen's still got to make a pit stop, so that's how much time he's lost. There you can see Raikkonen has closed right up. It's not 3 seconds anymore, it's just a matter of a few car lengths. Alonso does not want to let Montoya get away from him.
Now Alonso looking threatening, having a feint up into the Abbey chicane, and the problem for Raikkonen now is he can't pull out those quick laps he needs, because just ahead of him is arch rival but freshly refueled Alonso and his teammate Montoya, and they will probably be significantly slower at this stage of the Grand Prix. Fisichella pits from the lead at the end of lap 25.
Exactly right, Martin. I mean, Raikkonen wants to be doing laps in the low 121s. Instead, he's doing laps in the 22s, stuck behind the heavily fueled Montoya and Alonso. Fisichella rejoins after his pit stop. He led briefly then here at Silverstone. He went quite a long way into the Grand Prix, didn't he? 26 laps. Still Raikkonen yet to make a stop.
And this is Raikkonen all at the back of Alonso. He's a pit stop adrift. We don't know how many times he's stopping this afternoon, of course. But Raikkonen then now in the dirty air of the Renault, but he was much faster through Copse Corner, and he'll surely be faster with less fuel down the back straight. He's in the slipstream now, and Alonso goes to cover the inside line, but he's no need to trip over Raikkonen, no need to give him too hard a time. To drop out of the Grand Prix there would be a crazy thing to do, and smartly Alonso, old head on young shoulders, let him go through.
That was for pride. Kimi Raikkonen did that for pride, no question whatsoever. He knows the situation he's in. The start has compromised him badly. Being stuck behind Trulli has compromised him badly. He's got a very light car. Alonso's full of fuel. Alonso, as Martin said, very intelligent. He didn't make a fight of it. Psychologically, Raikkonen will have known that he's gone wheel to wheel and gone past him, but we all know the circumstances in which he did it. And look, Alonso offered no resistance.
Well, he parked his car in the middle and said, I'm going to make it as hard as I can for you, but I'm not going to lose a wheel up against you today, mate. Amigo, or whatever he's saying inside the cockpit there. But significantly, it's put Alonso a long way behind Montoya now. And finally, Raikkonen pits then. So he did not get those fast laps in he needed. Ted is down there.
No, and he absolutely did need them, but let's see, a good stop will help his cause, but they had to make a very late switch on the fuel rigs. That's strange. We'll look into that in a moment. No massive changes. Montoya put on more front downforce, but Raikkonen fairly happy with the car. But by the way, bad news for Button. I believe that Fisichella jumped him at those stops.
Well, Michael Schumacher has just gone past us. He is in 7th place, and Raikkonen is going back out in front of him. So Raikkonen rejoins, I believe, in 6th place. Yes, indeed, there he is. Montoya leading. Alonso 2nd, very close behind him. 3rd is Fisichella. 4th is Jenson Button. 5th is Barrichello. And 6th now Raikkonen. So he jumped Michael Schumacher and Trulli, thanks to his strategy of running a little bit longer. But he lost time behind Montoya and Alonso. And that is the net result. This is lap 27.